if we wait till September, it's going to be too late for them to get more accurate mobile numbers over the summer period. Wouldn't you agree?
True. That's true. Oh my God.
As a result,
am I gonna buy Cognism? Oh my God. Welcome to SomeBlock, the series where we talk about everything sales, prospecting, and what best to do during the slower and sunnier summer months. My name is Jason Meyer, and today we're joined by Piers Mosselmans, well, now based in Paris.
That's the one. I mean, my visa doesn't come through till September, but yes, I've been over in Paris for the last 9 to 10 months, helping set up the SDR function. So yeah.
Okay, great. So Piers, we actually met 2 years ago in SaaS Talk in Dublin.
I
Right?
remember.
So I was manning the Casper booth, and you were going around being an in-person SDR, correct?
Basically, yeah. We were, Stephen and I were looking to book as many meetings as possible for all the software companies that were there.
And was it a success?
It was a great success. Yeah, we had a really good time after smashing our KPIs. So yeah, can't say it didn't go badly.
So you started in Cognism as an SDR, and you're currently an SDR manager here in Paris for Cognism France.
Exactly. Yeah. So I started as commercial SDR, then moved up to enterprise, senior enterprise, and then they took me on as like a sort of interim sales development team lead role, and now I'm a SDR manager. And it's been a very exciting progression, yeah. And now that we're sort of building the sales function of Cognism France, yeah, it's very exciting times, moving very, very quickly.
Okay, well that's great to hear. Moving fast is what we do here at the Cognism Group.
Absolutely.
So before we dive into like the most common sales blockers that you get during the summer period, I wanted to know a little bit more about the more common blockers that you face in sales in general.
Sure. So as an SDR, we often face many objections. We prefer to call them objections, summer blocks objections.
Objections?
Yeah.
Okay. I call them blockers as in SomeBlock because we're in a summer theme, okay?
Fair enough.
So for now, during this one, we're gonna call them blockers.
Summer blockers. Okay, so in terms of summer blockers, well, general blockers, we have that people are not the decision maker, they're possibly very busy, or they have bad availability. They're often using a competitor, obviously, and then sometimes they don't have the budget for a premium sales intelligence tool like Cognism and Casper.
When you mentioned that they're using a competitor, how do you find that out? Like, do you ask them directly, or do you explore different tools or ways?
Well, we do have various tools that help us gain a bit of insight into which technologies our prospective clients are using, including Cognism itself. It helps you understand the technographic data of a company you're reaching out to. But we usually would prefer to gain information and insights on the use of competitor tools by speaking to people, naturally, because that way we can also understand the pains that they're having with X, Y, and Z, and then see exactly where Cognism could fit in to sort of help resolve those problems and issues that they're facing.
So do you think that the blockers or objections that you were mentioning earlier, do you think that in the summer period, do they change? Are they the same, or are they heightened? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, so certainly, I mean, people claim to be busier in summer, but I feel like it's more that they're on holidays. So definitely availability drops, right? And so then as an SDR, you're trying to book a meeting, people are saying, oh, well, I'm on annual leave until the week after next, and then my colleague's on annual leave, and they should be involved in the process. So the availability one is a real killer of pipeline. So that's probably the main objection that you would look to sort of circumnavigate. In terms of other rejections we get, I mean, people just, they're also struggling with decision makers being a little bit frustrating about the availability they're willing to give. So if they're grinding towards their targets, it doesn't feel like the right time to look at a tool. So that's another one as well, is that they've got their own targets to focus on. We're having more difficult summer months in terms of reaching our targets. They're having more difficult summer months in terms of reaching their targets. But that's where Cognism can actually help. That's the irony in it.
Can you share any specific experiences that you had or a challenge that you faced during a summer period and how you got over it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So actually, in my first month as an enterprise SDR back in, June 2022, I had just moved up to the enterprise SDR position, so naturally I was like dead set on hitting my first enterprise target. And I found it really difficult because I would basically get palmed off, brushed off. I'd have the summer blocker of, oh, well, I'm not free, so you should really speak to this person. This person's busy, so they say you should speak to this person. That person's on holidays, So what I found was sort of very effective way to get around that was to just pretty much call everyone at the company almost simultaneously, right, and have a bunch of conversations. Because then when somebody comes to you and they say, or actually, you should speak to this person, you can then rebuttal that sum blocker and tell them that you already have spoken to that person and you referred in that way. It also works with emails, so you can send a group email, looping lots of different people in, and that way, like their colleagues have visibility over, perhaps them being asked a particular question by yourself that they will then feel more of a need to answer.
So you talked about that you use Cognism as a tool to kind of like understand the tech stack that a potential customer might have. So let's say, how else do you leverage, let's say, the Cognism tool itself to overcome, let's say, sales challenges?
Where there's a need, for us, it's obviously our tool is particularly useful for SDRs. So just filtering for SDR headcount is probably one of our main go-tos. But then the ability to see which decision makers are likely to be the right people to speak to, that's really helpful as well. And I mean, generally speaking, Cognism is mostly useful because the more mobiles you have, the more conversations you have, right? And if you're struggling in the summer months because lots of people are away, then I think personalization becomes far more important. And in order to personalize, you need to have info gathered. You need to have found all of those pains. You're only going to find them by speaking to people and having meaningful conversations over the phone.
Okay, I like that answer. I know that you have new people in your team. So how do you motivate them? How do you get that confidence out of them so they can just pick up the phone and make that call?
You've got to remember that it's a volumes game, largely. So if you get rejected by somebody, I know it's easier said than done, you need to remember that it doesn't matter that you've burned that bridge. If a cold call goes badly, what I often remind my team is that there's actually more that we can learn from that bad cold call than there is to learn from a good cold call, because you learn more from failures and successes, obviously. And so just being able to get in the sort of mentality and mindset of becoming not just outcome blind with a particular call, but outcome blind with all the conversations you're having and the work that you're doing, you'll be grittier and you'll be more willing to take risks that perhaps you wouldn't otherwise. So you've just got to remember that it's often a case of asking them if they're interested, adapting your pitch sometimes to ensure that you are doing the best that you can, but remembering that when you do encounter a failure, it's a good thing, right? It's a good thing. You're going to learn more from it, and then your pitch is going to get better, increasingly so, over the first couple of months that you're at the company. And so, just being really outcome blind, laughing at rejection even, which one of my reps, Arthur Dongo, is very good at, and always being willing to move on to the next.
Okay, so laughing at rejections, people, we can all do that. Now that you're a manager, what makes a good SDR?
A good SDR is able to really understand the buying driver of a decision maker, right? So when they're speaking to them, they very quickly can ascertain what it is that is going to encourage the decision maker to engage with us, whether it be a company buying driver or personal buying driver. In that I mean maybe they do care about the rest of their team and the workflow efficiency. Maybe they care about themselves and their targets, right? And if their reps adopt a tool that's going to help their reps bring in more revenue, and their targets are usually, as mine is, an accumulation of all the reps' targets, then that will obviously tie into their revenue. They're making more money. So you've got to find out what it is that makes them tick, what it is that motivates the person that you're speaking to very quickly, so you can start playing to that.
So empathy?
I mean, 2024 is a very difficult year for SaaS, right? It's kind of the year of hyper-personalization in a sense. And there are all these AI tools that offer the ability to very quickly personalize outreach, but I think it's still very easy for us to tell the difference between AI outreach and human outreach. And if you want to really have a lot of success as SDR, you need to go for hyper-personalized outreach, where you're actually genuinely caring about the objectives of the person you're speaking to, and then sort of almost consulting and advising them on how to fix those issues that they're facing, whether it be with Cognism's tool or else another tool.
With Cognism.
with Cognism's tool, of course. But yeah, you really need to start getting creative with your outreach as well, because people have been sending emails and LinkedIn messages for years now. I think having meaningful conversations, cold calling will never die, because you're always able to personalize your outreach if you're speaking to people, both because you're having a meaningful conversation there and then on the phone, but also because going into a call with a decision maker, you might have called a bunch of ICs who have given you more leverage, which means that you can then use that leverage that referral or those pains to then better personalize the call that you're having with the decision maker, the one that matters, the bridge that maybe you don't want to burn.
The bridges that you don't want to burn. Okay, Piers, we've reached that segment where we're going to do a call. Hello?
Hi, Jason. This is Piers calling from Cognism. How are you today?
Who?
Piers. My name is Piers. I'm calling from Cognism. I was wondering if you have...
From where?
Cognism. We're a B2B data provider.
Okay, so what can I do for you?
Well, I was wondering if you have a brief minute for me to explain exactly why I'm reaching out.
Okay, let's say I have 45 seconds.
Sure, that should be enough. Naturally, people are very busy during the summer period, and having spoken to some of your reps, I understand that they're really struggling to hit their targets because they're not having enough conversations with decision makers who typically are on holidays at this time of year. Is that something that you're...
Well, some of my reps just are on vacation. What can I say? They're not hitting target. What can I do?
Well, aside from hiring better reps, you might
Are you looking for a job?
No, I'm not actually. I'm very happy in my role at the moment.
Okay.
But no, Jason, I mean, what you can be doing, right, is reaching more decision makers. If half decision makers are on holidays at the moment, but you're reaching out to twice as many decision makers, would you not agree that your reps would then be equally able to hit their targets as in non-summer months?
Well, I'm listening.
Okay, interesting. So given the conversation I had with one of your SDRs, it sounds like you have all right mobile coverage for the decision makers you're looking to reach out to. If we could get that from an all right to a really good coverage, what impact do you think that might have on your team?
Well, hopefully more sales. But how do you guarantee that it's going to be better data quality than my current provider?
Well, I mean, fair enough. It's a very good point to raise. For that, the proof is in the pudding, really. Like, if we were to put you on and your reps on trial, I'm sure that you would see it for yourself. We have the best mobile coverage in France with 13 million contacts in our database and more mobile numbers than any of our competitors. So, I mean, given that you've got a team that are actively reaching out to people with their mobile numbers, would you agree that having more would have a positive impact on your reps' performance?
Can we pick up this conversation like after the summer break? Because right now I'm a bit my head is not there. I want to concentrate on getting my tan on.
Of course. Are you on holidays right now, Jason?
Yeah, I'm on holiday right now. Can you just let me tan in peace?
I completely understand. Listen, when do you get back from holidays?
I get back on an undisclosed date. But let's say the beginning of September.
Beginning of September. That's a long way away. I mean, if your reps are telling the truth in what they've mentioned to me, that they are really struggling over these summer months, if we wait till September, it's going to be too late for them to get more accurate mobile numbers over the summer period. Wouldn't you agree?
That's true. Oh my God.
As a result, As a result, maybe it's worth a brief conversation. Surely you can't be on holidays until September.
Okay, cool. Let's do something. Call me after the weekend. Okay? Call me again, let's say Monday afternoon.
Monday afternoon. Could we get a specific time just so I can pencil something in? What about 3 p.m. on Monday?
3 p.m. sounds fine.
Fantastic. Well, I look forward to speaking to you very shortly, Jason.
Okay. Piers, was it?
Yes, it's Piers, yeah.
Okay.
And Jason, just before you go, I've got one more question for you.
Yeah?
Where on holidays are you?
In, Tuscany.
Ah, brilliant. Yeah, we've got really good coverage of Italy. So if your reps are targeting the Italian market, we're your tool.
Okay. Let's do one country at a time, Piers. Talk to you on Monday then.
Sounds good. Take care, Jason.
And that It's how it's done. Oh my God. Yeah. Just before we wrap up this conversation, just wanted to ask you the most important question. Any exciting summer plans coming up?
Well, I do have my sister's birthday in New York, which is going to be very exciting. And then I've also got a wedding up in Scotland, which is where I went to uni. And in fact, I haven't been back since I graduated, yonks ago. So yeah, big shout out to Trip and Kaylee, who are the lucky couple.
Okay, that's awesome. So wedding, New York. Wow.
Yeah, also going to Greece with my family in August, which will be fun. So don't call me then.
Okay. Okay. Well, don't call Piers during summer. Piers, thank you so much for coming. It was a pleasure to have you here, sharing all your valuable knowledge with us, and with our viewers.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Yeah. And thank you for watching this episode of SomeBlock. Join us next time where we'll make waves with another expert from our team. Bye.